There is a moment in every interaction with a manipulator where you feel the ground shift beneath your feet. You start the conversation knowing exactly what happened, but by the end of it, you are the one apologizing. You walk away feeling confused, foggy, and unsure of your own reality. You replay the words in your mind, trying to find the moment where the truth was twisted, but it's like trying to catch smoke with your bare hands. Maybe it's a partner who makes you feel guilty for having needs. Maybe it's a family member who uses affection as a weapon. Maybe it's a colleague who smiles while they sabotage you. They all use different tactics, but they all rely on the same thing, your doubt. Manipulators are not accidental, they are strategic. They study you. They learn your triggers, your insecurities, and your deep desire to be a good person. And then, they use those beautiful qualities against you. But here is the truth that will change everything: manipulation only works when you participate in the game. The moment you stop playing by their rules, the moment you stop reacting, stop defending, and stop explaining, their power evaporates. You do not need to outsmart them. You do not need to fight them. You simply need to become unplayable. Today, I am going to give you 4 concrete, non-negotiable strategies that will act as a psychological shield. These are not just tips, they are laws of engagement. When you implement these 4 things, you will notice an immediate shift. The fog will clear. The guilt will lift. And the manipulators in your life will either be forced to treat you with respect, or they will leave to find an easier target. But before we begin, ask yourself, how many times have you questioned your own sanity because someone else refused to take responsibility for their actions? Because the first thing I'm about to share is the exact antidote to that confusion. The first thing: believe the pattern, not the potential. The most dangerous trap a manipulator sets is the potential trap. They show you glimpses of who they could be: kind, attentive, responsible, just enough to keep you hooked. Then, when they hurt you, they tell you it was a mistake. They promise it won't happen again. And because you have a good heart, you believe in their potential rather than their pattern. But a pattern is a language. It speaks louder than any apology ever could. So, here is the rule: when their words and their actions don't match, trust the actions. If someone says they respect you but constantly interrupts you, believe the interruption. If someone says they value your time but is always late, believe the lateness. If someone says they love you but consistently makes you feel small, believe the feeling. When you stop looking at who they could be and start looking at who they are right now, the manipulation loses its grip. You stop making excuses for them. You stop filling in the gaps with your own hope. You see the reality. Here is the secret: manipulators rely on your hope. They need you to be more in love with their potential than you are with your own peace. Once you shatter that illusion, you become immune to their charm. If this first strategy resonates with you, if you have spent years waiting for someone to finally become the person they promised to be, then the second thing is going to feel like taking a deep breath of fresh air after being underwater. Because it is about the one thing manipulators demand from you constantly, but you are going to stop giving it. The second thing: become boring, the gray rock method. Manipulators feed on one thing above all else: reaction. They want to see you upset. They want to see you defending yourself. They want to see you cry, yell, or plead. Why? Because your emotional reaction proves that they have control over you. It makes them feel powerful. It validates their importance in your life. So, the ultimate defense is to starve them. You must become as boring as a gray rock. When they try to provoke you, do not take the bait. Do not explain yourself. Do not get angry. Give them nothing but neutral, factual responses. Okay. I see. That is an interesting perspective. Keep your face relaxed. Keep your tone flat. Do not give them the emotional hit they are craving. This will drive them crazy at first. They will try harder. They will poke deeper. But if you hold the line, they will eventually realize that the game is over. You are no longer a source of supply. And here is the psychological truth behind the gray rock method: it breaks the cycle of narcissistic supply. Manipulators and toxic individuals are essentially energy vampires. They don't care if the energy you give them is positive, admiration, or negative, anger, as long as it is intense. When you withhold your emotional reaction, you cut off their food source. You force them to either behave normally to get a response or leave you alone entirely. If the first thing, trusting the pattern, gave you clarity, and the second thing, becoming boring, gave you protection, then this third thing is what will give you your freedom back. But ask yourself this: do you feel an overwhelming need to make people understand you? Do you think that if you just explain your side one more time, they will finally get it? This is the trap that keeps you stuck, and breaking it is the only way to escape. The third thing: stop explaining yourself, J.A.D.E. There is an acronym used in recovery groups for people dealing with toxic relationships, J.A.D.E. It stands for justify, argue, defend, explain. Manipulators are masters at putting you on the defensive. They question your choices: why did you do that? They criticize your feelings: you're too sensitive, and they challenge your reality. Your instinct is to explain. You want to justify your actions, argue your point, defend your character, and explain your reasoning. But here is the hard truth: you cannot explain yourself to someone who is committed to misunderstanding you. When you J.A.D., you are handing them ammunition. You are giving them more words to twist, more vulnerabilities to exploit, and more time to confuse you. You are subconsciously telling them, I need you to agree with me for my reality to be valid. The moment you stop explaining, you take your power back. If you say no, and they ask why, you do not need to give a reason. Because it doesn't work for me, is a complete answer. If they accuse you of being selfish, you do not need to list all the times you were generous. You can simply say, I am sorry you see it that way, and walk away. But wait, what happens when they escalate? When silence and boundaries make them angrier? There is a final, crucial step that ensures you don't just set the boundary, but you survive the extinction burst that follows. If you resonated with the first two traits, seeing the pattern and starving the reaction, then this third trait of strategic silence will feel like the missing piece of the puzzle. It takes you from being a participant in the drama to being an observer of it. You are no longer trying to win the court case of your life in front of a judge who has already decided you are guilty. You are stepping out of the courtroom entirely. Most people fail here because they are terrified of being seen as the bad guy. The manipulator will accuse you of being cold, uncaring, or difficult. But the wise person knows that being the villain in a manipulator's story is often the only way to be the hero in your own. When you refuse to J.A.D., you create a vacuum. The manipulator throws out a hook, and it catches nothing but air. They are left alone with their own accusations, and without your defense to validate them, those accusations fall flat. Now, you might be thinking, this sounds empowering, but what if I love this person? What if I can't just cut them off? This is the hurdle that keeps most empathetic people trapped, and there is a specific mindset shift you need to make to protect yourself without losing your heart. If you can see how stopping the explanation cycle changes the entire dynamic, you are beginning to understand the difference between connection and entanglement. Connection requires two people sharing truth. Entanglement requires one person defending their truth against another's distortion. This shift from defending to declaring is exactly why people who break free from manipulation often seem so calm. They aren't indifferent, they are secure. They know that their truth does not require a second opinion to be valid. By implementing these three things, you are essentially telling the universe that your reality is not up for debate. The fourth thing: trust your body over your mind. The fourth and final shield is the one your body has been trying to give you for years. You must trust your somatic intelligence. Manipulators can twist words. They can confuse your logic. They can make you doubt your memory. But they cannot fool your nervous system. Have you ever been around someone and felt your stomach tighten? Your throat close up? A heaviness in your chest. That is not anxiety. That is data. That is your primal instinct screaming, unsafe. But here is the most profound secret of all: your body detects a lie 0.2 seconds before your conscious mind even processes the sentence. I'm going to show you how to tune into that signal so you never get fooled again. Your mind can be gaslit. Your mind can be convinced that they didn't mean it, or they're trying their best. But your body keeps the score. If you feel drained, exhausted, or physically ill around someone, that is the only proof you need. You do not need a court of law to convict them, your body's recoil is the verdict. By trusting your physical sensations, you bypass the manipulator's word games. You stop asking, "Did they really do that?" and start asking, "How do I feel right now?" If the answer is unsafe, small, or confused, you have your answer. The reason trusting your body is so powerful is that it is the one thing a manipulator cannot access. They can access your ears with their words, they can access your eyes with their performance, but they cannot access your gut. That is sovereign territory. It is the one place where truth still lives, untouched by their distortion field. When you start making decisions based on how you feel rather than what you are told, you become impenetrable. Now, if you are ready to stop being a source of fuel for people who drain you and start being the architect of your own peace, there is one final identity shift you must make to seal this new power. If you resonated with the traits of the strategic guardian in our previous discussions, then this transition will feel like a graduation. It is the natural evolution of someone who has realized that their empathy is a gift, not a curse, but only if it is guarded. You no longer want the win of fixing the manipulator. You want the win of a peaceful life. The ultimate victory over a manipulator is not exposing them to the world. It is simply removing their access to you. If they are playing a game, the only way to win is to leave the board. The identity shift, from savior to steward. For too long, you have approached relationships as a savior. You thought that if you loved enough, forgave enough, and understood enough, you could save them from their own toxicity. But that mindset is a trap. It assumes you have power over their soul. You don't. Today, you are stepping into a new identity. You are becoming the steward of your own light. A steward does not leave the doors of the temple open for thieves. A steward protects the sacred space. When you are the steward, you realize that your energy, your time, and your love are finite resources. You are responsible for where they go. You cannot afford to pour them into a black hole. Now, you might be wondering, where do I start? How do I actually do this today? I'm going to give you a simple, 24-hour plan that will let you test these shields immediately. The 24-hour protection plan. Here is how I want you to use this new power starting right now. Step 1. Identify the drain. In the next 24 hours, notice who makes you feel tired. Not physically tired, but soul tired. Who makes your stomach drop when their name appears on your phone? Acknowledge it. That feeling is your compass. Step 2. Practice the non-response. When a manipulator tries to provoke you or guilt-trip you today, give them nothing. No defense. No explanation. Just a neutral, "I hear you." Watch how they scramble when the fuel is cut off. Step 3. Honor your no. Say no to one thing today that you don't want to do. Do not give a reason. Just say, "I can't make it." Sit in the discomfort of their disappointment, and realize that the world did not end. You survived. The final declaration. If this message has given you the clarity you needed, if you felt your chest expand and your fears subside as you listened, then I want you to make a commitment to yourself. I want you to tell the universe that you are no longer available for manipulation. Go to the comments below and write these exact words. I am not available for games. Let those words be your shield. Let them be the moment you stop being the nice one and start being the free one. Protecting yourself from manipulators is not about being cruel. It is about being real. It is about realizing that you teach people how to treat you by what you allow, what you stop, and what you reinforce. Thank you for your time, your trust, and your willingness to reclaim your power. You are part of a rare group of people who are waking up to their own worth. The world doesn't need you to be a martyr. It needs you to be whole. Until next time, keep your boundaries high, your explanations low, and your intuition sharp. The steward has taken the keys.